do. He is one of the most prominent activists leading this country. He is the man who is not afraid to speak up for the voiceless and stand firm on his beliefs. He is the president and founder of National Action Network and has devoted his life to helping our people. He is none other than the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton.
No justice,
no peace.
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 What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
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 Fist bump the person next to you, tell him you love. This weekend, they are premiering a documentary that some people, John Legend, the entertainers companies, put together on race and activism with me as a central point of it. We talk about how in the 80s, when we got started to becoming known, that we were very controversial and was attacked. And I've not seen it all, but they go through all the controversy cases of the 80s and they come to now where we have MSNBC show and access to the White House and all of that, but still marching and still protesting. If you are faithful over a few things, God will bless you over many things. I don't care how many times I go to the White House, I'm still going to march in Brunswick, Georgia. I'm still going to march in Staten Island. Because if I'm faithful, my change will come. Your change will come. Your change will come. But I don't care what you're going through. I don't care what burdens you're bearing, what challenges you face. I know it's Father's Day weekend. Some of you, like me, was raised without a father at home. and Father's Day means something different to you, but whether you had a father here or a father that was on high, if you believe that you can make it, only thing that you have in life is tests that you gotta pass. Don't worry about how you tested, worry about passing the test. And if you stand strong and pass your test and never give up and never give in, your change will come.
Your change will come. Your change. Do you believe it? Your change will come. Your change. Oh, change will. Oh, change will come. Your change. Just hang on in there. Your change will come. Your change. Oh, your change will come. Oh, your change. Oh, change will. Oh, change will.
National Action Network Change Ensemble. Give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning for the Saturday Action Rally. For you that are here in the House of Justice and you that are listening live on 1190 WLIB AM in New York, and you that are watching us on our various social platforms around the country, we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning to give our report on where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Sister Katrina Jefferson. She's a senior liaison to me and does a great job here at our organization and standing in for Attorney Hardy, who's away at his college reunion. And he's going to classmates. He at his 60th year. No, it ain't been that long. Let's welcome Impact Television watching us all over the world, our family. Let me also give a hand to, didn't we enjoy Reverend Kimbrough? Give me that great. He gave us a great message this morning from Micah and sung a little bit too. I told Reverend Marshall I didn't know he could sing. And also we were very happy to be joined by the candidate for governor and my friend, beloved brother, Congressman Tom Suozzi. And let me tell you something, Suozzi, this is not his first visit. You know, a lot of folk come to the House of Justice, get on the radio and TV because they run it. He came when he was one of the few officials that endorsed Eric Adams early. I'm talking about when most black officials had not come out. And when we had the mayoral forum here, he walked in that door with Eric Adams. And when most folks were saying Eric was not going to win, he was with Eric. And he's running for governor now, and he said he wanted to come by on Juneteenth and Father's Day weekend, and we welcome him, give him another hand. Also, a former congressman from Florida and a big supporter of National Action Network, former Congressman Kendrick Meeks. I'm so honored that, you know, as I said, they're doing this premiere this weekend, and some of the people that we've worked with down through, I see some of our 10 o'clock, you know, I get up at 10, so you got some 10 o'clock members, y'all surprised I'm here today. That's right, check them all out, because I just got over COVID. I ain't touching nothing today. that ain't been tested. I test myself, I get in the middle of the night and test myself. But some of those that we've worked with that have been loyal to the movement came into town to be with us for the premiere tonight and tomorrow. And I'm honored that they're with us. Give a hand. First of all, she's here every Saturday, mother of Eric, Gwen Carr, Santa Gwen, and mother of Eric Garner. And of course, one of the cases that I think will be in history, and it's not in history because of what happened, it was in history because of how it was handled. And that is when these young and old thugs in Brunswick, Georgia, decided that they were going to lynch Ahmaud Arbery. The anchor of that case was his mother. His mother was determined to get justice for her son. I bet you, once y'all see this movie come out, I fought a lot of cases for the last, they went back 40 years, but I went back earlier than that. And I'm telling you, everybody don't stand up for justice. Some folk just want a lawsuit, pay me off, sorry my kid is gone. She was not like that. She went to court every day, stood up every day, didn't want no nonsense from the lawyers or nobody else. She wanted justice. When they got the conviction, which I didn't even know we would get in Brunswick, she said, that ain't enough. I'm not cutting no deal with the Justice Department. I want justice. And got the feds and the state to convict those murderers. And she knew it would not bring Ahmaud back, but she knew it would set a precedent for mothers that go forward. And I look at her as a real symbol for us, and I'm proud she's with us from day one. I told her I'd be with her, and I stay in touch with her and try to help wherever I can. A lot of folk leave with the cameras. You ain't gonna hear from them no more. They come in and they rah, 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 we ain't gonna take it no more, and da, 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 da. And take credit for everything, give credit to everybody else. But some folk, that's why I built an organization, not a website. Some of y'all website activists. We're gonna be here. Our offices around the country. Paramore's here from our Miami office. All of that. Stand up, that's it. She heads our office in Miami. I don't read lips well, right? You know. And our senior vice president of policy is here, who runs our Washington grill. Where's Ebony Brown is stand up? But this woman is somebody I think that has earned the respect of all of us, and I'm so proud she's going to be here and part of the panel tomorrow for Juneteenth. Give a hand to the mother of Ahmaud Arbery, Wanda. Stand up, Wanda. Give her a big hand. Give her a big hand. A lot of folk don't know that. They called me because we'd all gotten real close, and they called me and said, Reverend Al, the Justice Department is willing to take a plea so they'll have to try this case again. We already got murder convictions. And let me tell you something. When I first went down there, and because I dealt with so many cases, and I'm in Brunswick, Georgia, and I'm looking at, if you go downtown Brunswick, it looked like the set of Tom Swazi of Gone with the Wind. They still got all them flossy leaves and stuff. I mean, I'm looking for Clark Gable to step out. So this is the deep South. This ain't Atlanta now. This is the deep South. And so I was saying, to the mother and the father, I said, it's going to be rough, but we with you, da, da, da. And I'm preparing them that we may not get a conviction. And if we get one, we may not get it all. And all Wanda kept saying is, Lord will make a way. She was preaching to me. And I'm like, all right, I'd come, they had where they only would have the family and select folk could come in, and we'd sit on the back pew of the courthouse. And let me show you how strong she was. To sit there in that courtroom every day, looking at the people that murdered your son. The family of the murderers was sitting in front of the family of the victims. So you got to sit there and look at the murderers and their family. That takes a whole lot of strength. And then hear the description of what they did. And she sat right there, saying the Lord will make a way. And then one day I'm sitting there with him, and I left. I had to go speak somewhere. By the time I landed, they called me and said, one of the lawyers went off and said that he objected to you being in the courtroom. I was objecting to me being in the courtroom. Said, yeah, Al Sharpton was here, and y'all got all these black pastors. No more black pastors. And I said, well, what is he talking about? First of all, I was on the back bench. I don't even know if the jury knew I was there. But made a big thing. So before I could think about it, I said, well, I'm coming back with 100 black preachers. And we came back over 300 came. She there every day. The Lord will make a way. So finally, they called us. We was out to lunch. Ben Crump, all of us. And Wanda would go and take care of her business and come back during lunch break. While we had lunch break, they called and said the jury got a verdict. And I got the car. We ran back to the courthouse. And I think Reverend Toon was with us. And Reverend Toon said, come on, you got to rush up. I said, no, I ain't going nowhere to Wanda's car pull up. I was not walking nowhere without Wanda. And we all walked up into the courthouse. And they said, there's a verdict. And I started again. Let's be prepared for the worst, da-da-da. And she said, the Lord will make a way. And when they stood up and the judge read the jury guilty, she grabbed my hand. I was sitting right next to her, the father on the other side. She grabbed my hand and said, told you the Lord will make a way. And they convicted all three of them on the faith of that mother. I want y'all to know the strong mother that she is. Then we also bless a brother that has been the symbol, the face. If there's one case that has been the Emmett Till of the 21st century, Emmett Till was a case of the 20th century. The case of the 21st century was the case of George Floyd. And the one that led and stood up from day one, he's like a little brother to me. He called on me, check on me, and I check on him. But I will never forget every press conference. He would say to me, what am I supposed to say? I said, you know what to say. And he'd get out there and talk like he was doing this for all his life. And he'd call you and say, I want to do this in the community for my brother George. I want to do this. Folks sending money to everybody but the folk doing the work. Hello. I'm telling y'all, these website activists, they did it to Gwen. You better know where you sending your money. You just get all emotional and guilty because you ain't never done nothing. So you send money to just send money and find out later where it's going. If I don't know, if you ain't got an address, don't ask me for nothing. I want to know you paying rent, staff, something. Well, no, you get me on my site. Well, you can keep citing me because you won't get nothing from me. But this brother has become a gladiator and a personification of activism, and I love him like a little brother. And that is, of course, the brother of George Floyd, Philonis Floyd, in the house. Stand up, Philonis. So all of them are with us here for the weekend and for the premiere. And they said, no, we want to come up to the rally and be part of the rally today. Let me also thank Reverend Spencer and Reverend Bartley, who spoke last week. Last Thursday before last, I believe it was, I was getting ready to do an interview for HBO on some documentary they're doing on something. And they do rapid testing to protect their staff. And they tested me and it came back positive. I said, well, test it again. Could be a false positive. Because I done been tested. Every time you go to the White House, they test everything up under your toenails, everything. And they came back positive. So I said, wait a minute. I told Chris and them, get the car, drove up to Harlem Hospital and gave us the PCR test. And it came back positive. So I said, well, what I do, the doctor said, well, you should quarantine. You had both of your shots and you got boosted. You got to quarantine for 5 days. So I said, all right. And he said, I'm going to give you an intravenous, which will help your antibodies come out quicker. I said, okay, does that mean quicker than 5 days? He said, no, you might do it in 5 days. And I went home and I worked out the house for 5 days. That's why I wasn't here last Saturday. But I did my radio show every day. I did my TV show last weekend. I kept working every day. Never felt any symptoms. Never had a headache. Never had nothing. Because I had taken them. All of y'all talking about I don't believe in shots. Y'all got it. I'm glad I took the shots. I'm glad I took the booster. And I'm glad I work out every day. That's why I didn't feel nothing. I worked with Dr. Richardson in the Conference of National Black Churches, so I practiced what we preach, and if we had not done what we said, it would have been a lot rougher for me. I done met some of the folk up in here half my age, got COVID and almost died. I was doing push-ups on Instagram with COVID, because I did what CNBC and all of us talk about. So I'm glad that Reverend Bartley and Reverend Spencer fell in the gap and did a great job. This is the first time I was able to sit home and watch the Saturday rally on television. Because I wanted to see Kendrick if they could really preach it now. And some of y'all that be at the rallies sometimes don't understand how it come across the air. That's why Dominique be telling y'all, say ye amen and yell, but don't out yell the preacher, because y'all distort the message. Anybody turn on TV to hear you holler. I'm serious, you watch it on TV, all you hear is your mouth. Well, what is he saying? Like I grew up in Church of God in Christ, people be saying amen before you get to the end of the sentence. What are you amening? You better wait till the end of the sentence, because you might not want to say amen. And the Lord said, amen. That God said, yes, that you are ugly and stupid. Amen. You amening your own attack. Wait till you hear what somebody's saying before you agree with it. I learned that from Dominique and Ashley. They come in and say, Dad, I need to get something from the store. Is it all right with you? Wait a minute, what is it and how much it costs? They don't even train Marcus Al. I was here 2 Saturdays ago, Marcus Al come in the back. But 3 years old, kids were talking about money. I said, huh? Money, Papa, money. And always Mama Dominique goes, well, I wonder who taught him that. You know who taught him that. That boy wasn't born saying money. So I want to thank them for standing up for us. Let me say this, and I think a couple of things I want to hit. Before I get into my theme, I want to talk about what Juneteenth is and also Father's Day. But I think that Reverend Kimbrough said something that is very important. We must look at, and I'm going to deal with this on my show. Before I do the premiere, I'm going to do NBC and do my TV show live from the studio. at 5, MSNBC, and then tomorrow again. We are not just in another situation. We are in a crisis in government in this country. Anytime someone can plot to overthrow the government and still out there playing golf and not being held accountable, you are in a constitutional crisis. There has been evidence galore that they planned to stop the certification of an election. January 6th just wasn't a date they chose. January 6th was because that was the day they were to certify the election. We call a rally, we choose a date. They said last Saturday, Helder and Ashley and all of them were out there with March for Our Lives. They chose that Saturday. January 6th wasn't just a day they chose to rally. The purpose of January 6th was because the Senate and the Congress was going to certify the election and therefore certify that Joe Biden won the election and Donald Trump lost. That is why they called the rally that day. Who called the rally was Donald Trump. Who spoke at the rally was Donald Trump. Who told them we're going to march to the Capitol was Donald Trump. Who tweeted we going to have a wild time was Donald Trump. The folk went to the Capitol with weapons. People talk about it when they just got there and got mad. Well, how did they have all of these tools that broke in windows? How they have gallows set up? They didn't make no gallows walking from the ellipse to the Capitol. They brought all this stuff because they intended to stop the vote of certification. To stop the vote of certification is to overthrow the voters and is seditious in its nature. That's where you're at now. So we had to fight to get the right to vote. Now we had to fight to get some of y'all to vote. Now they're going to try and negate the vote. If they do not hold people accountable, that means that they are saying that it is all right to try and stop the certification of an election. So this ain't whether you like the January 6th committee and whether you like the chairman of the committee, Benny Thompson, or Liz Cheney or not. This is about whether you're going to preserve the democratic principles of this country. So there was a time. So I said, when we had to fight to preserve our right to vote, now we got to fight to preserve the integrity of this country.
That's it.
That's what's at stake here. And with all of this evidence, the Attorney General that Trump appointed, Bill Barr, said he told them there was no fraud. Said it was BS. With all the evidence that Trump knew better and did it anyway, Trump still goes yesterday to the right-wing religious group and attack Pence and them and still say he won. If you don't hold him accountable, you've undermined what this country has said it stood for. So while y'all watching this stuff, this ain't no soap opera. This is real life. And the real future of this country depends on this. Let me tell you something. Yesterday was the 50th anniversary of them breaking in Watergate. Nixon had enough integrity to resign. Nixon had enough integrity to admit what happened when they come out with the tapes and prove what he did. Trump won't even admit when the evidence is there against him. And I got to say this, and the faith leaders that stood with him, all right, fine. All of us believe folks that we shouldn't have believed. But now, how y'all still standing up having him in Nashville yesterday when you know what he did? How you gonna preach right and uphold wrong? I mean, who going to your church? So these elections this year, these midterm elections, become even more important. Because they didn't only say, don't listen to Sharpton and don't listen to this. They talk about they want to hang Mike Pence, their vice president. And hang him why? Because he would not steal an election that he was put in office for. Mike Pence. Show you how critical it is. I never thought I'd live to see the day that I'd be defending Mike Pence and Liz Cheney. Now you know it's bad for me to be defending Cheney. I was on Morning Joe yesterday for 2 hours, and I had to pinch myself. I'm actually up here defending Liz Cheney. But that's how crazy it's got.
That's it. Tell him that.
They got one guy running for governor, they arrested for what he did on the Department of Justice. So I want y'all to take this serious. Now, it runs you right into Juneteenth. This is the first year of the federal holiday. A lot of us have been talking Juneteenth for a long time. Now it's a federal holiday. The risk of a federal holiday and the temptation, Gwen Carr, is that we turn it into just another 3-day holiday. And people don't realize or underscore what the holiday is about. First of all, why is it named Juneteenth? Because it's the combination of June 19th. Y'all be running around talking about Juneteenth, don't know why you saying Juneteenth. It was at the end of the Civil War. I want y'all to get this at home, watching on television. Abraham Lincoln had reluctantly signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Reluctantly. Remember now, Lincoln was not sure he wanted to do it, was fighting against it. After he had to put blacks in the Union Army, in 1862, he said, I will sign the Emancipation Proclamation to free those enslaved states, January 1st, 1863. Y'all with me? The Emancipation Proclamation was an executive order. Wasn't a law. It was an executive order. That's why a lot of y'all, website activists be talking about, I don't know why y'all got an executive order for Biden on policing with Philonis and all of us there. But Emancipation Proclamation wasn't nothing but an executive order. Right. When you can't get legislation, you force the president to do an executive order to order it until you can get the legislation. So Lincoln and them said, we'll sign the Emancipation Proclamation until we can get the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment is with freedoms. Really, Emancipation Day should be when they did the 13th Amendment, not the proclamation. Just like we got the executive order in the spirit of George Floyd that will last as long as Biden is president, which is why we still must have the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. But we don't have the law, it's going to leave with Biden. Now, why did they do that? First of all, as you deal with Juneteenth, in 1619, they brought us here slaves. Kidnapped us, sold us as property. By 1776, when they formed the government, we had already been here 157 years. Count 1619, 1776, 157-year difference. So when you got these people walking around talking about replacement theory, we were here when you got here. When you left Europe, because you heard about the New World, which was not new. They had committed genocide against the Native Americans and called it new. Wasn't no new world. God didn't make a new world for you. That in and of itself is white supremacy. Like God created a new world for you. No, you distorted the old world and cooked people and killed people and took their land. And then kidnapped us to work the land. 157 years later, you sit down and talk about how all men are created equal. But you weren't talking about all men. You talking about some men. Because you said we were less than human. You said we were 3/5 of a man. You weren't talking about women. You were talking about white men with property. Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation reluctantly, 1862. January 1st, 1863, y'all free in those states. Watch night service started because of 1863. You know why we have church on watch night different than they have in other churches? Because we did not have watch night for the reasons y'all have it now. Where y'all go to church and shout until midnight, and 5 after midnight the church is empty and you boogieing at the club. Watch night was to see when the clock struck 12, whether Lincoln was going to keep his word and we can walk off this plantation. So when the clock struck 12, 1863, they walked off the plantation, but they didn't walk off in Texas because nobody told them they were free. My point to you today is the worst thing in the world is to be a slave. But there's one thing worse than that, is to be free of being a slave and don't know you free. And the problem we got today is that we are free and still acting like slaves. The Juneteenth problem in 2022 Ebony Riley is that we are still acting like slaves when we already been free. What I mean by that, the other night, City and State had their top 100 blacks, had me in the top 10, had me keto. And I stood up there and said, wait a minute. We got a black mayor, black police commissioner, black majority leader of the New York State Senate, black speaker of the New York Assembly, black district attorney in Manhattan, black district attorney in the Bronx, black U.S. attorney in Buffalo, black U.S. attorney Southern District, Manhattan and the Bronx, black U.S. attorney Brooklyn and Long Island, black ball president. We ain't never had this much power. And we sit around arguing about whether and how we gonna deal with crime coming down free, but still acting like slaves. Got more ways to preach to our people. During COVID, couldn't meet in church, so we built up online ministries, viral ministries, on the internet, on everything from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok, and got nothing to say. preaching slaveocracy, telling your people to adjust to being down. You are not preachers and prophets, slave keepers. Foremen of the plantation, whipping folk in line every Sunday. Don't worry about the crime. Don't worry about the job. Just believe Jesus. If you believe Jesus, then do what he said. Nowhere the Bible talks about sit on your behind and just let God do it all for you. You're sitting up eating a half a pound or half a fried chicken with some macaroni and some sweet potato pie, with your big behind talking about the Lord will make a way with my body. Yeah, he will if you put that sugar down and eat your diet. God is not your magician. Slaves and not know they was free. They did not know until General Granger came. Why? Because the Union Army had not come to protect the slaves, and therefore they could not leave the plantation because the Confederates were still in charge. It was not until the Union Army came to Texas and protected the slaves and announced, as of now, you're free, June 19th. That's what Juneteenth is. There's a legislative point in that, Kendrick. Texas didn't recognize the Emancipation Proclamation until the federal government, the Union Army, enforced it. That's why states' rights, which you're dealing with today, is a danger to us, which is why you got to know that you cannot operate like you're not free. What do I mean by that? What do they say right now? Well, let states decide who gonna vote. Let states decide what are the requirements of voting. Let states decide if women got a right to choose over their body. Let states decide. They're going back to a states' rights model. States' rights is what Juneteenth came from. If the Union hadn't come into Texas, they'd have still been slaves. And if we do not establish federal law, like we're trying to do with George Floyd, like we're trying to do with the John Lewis voting bill, we will never be protected in all 50 states without federal law. That's why we march on Washington. That's why we got Ebony and her staff in our Washington Bureau. You need federal law. Well, man, we got this, that, and the other in New York. Yeah, and you go through the Holland Tunnel, and there's a different set of laws in New Jersey. But all of them have to deal with federal law. That's what Juneteenth is. Juneteenth ain't about you getting some Kool-Aid. Juneteenth is about teaching your children the history of what happened and how for over 2 years people were still slaves on a plantation because there was no knowledge or protection that they were free. And that's what's going on now. Look at our culture. Worst thing in the world was for me to have to sit down 5 days and watch some of these things going on. We are acclimating ourselves to a slave mentality. Everybody on TV is just cutting up like slaves. I mean, it's a slave-a-thon. I watched 1 or 2 of the award shows. I ain't calling names. It's crazy. You giving people awards for calling themselves niggas and hoes and bees.
Tell him, man.
Slave mentality.
Tell him, man.
The nerve of you, when you got a woman stand up with the dignity like a Gwen Carr or like Wanda, and you gonna call them a hoe? Because you're trying to sell a record? Slave mentality. We fought to say we're not 3/5 of a man. That we as human as anybody else. Some of us put in jail. Some of us shot down. I got stabbed once leading a march. All of that so you could get on a stage and call us niggas? Free and don't know it. And then mock you by giving you an award for degrading your own people. And you think you done crossed over. You done crossed us. Oh, Reverend Al, y'all don't understand. I'm mainstream now. I remember I had a debate when we come out against the N-word, and I had a debate with one of the rappers on television, Damon Byman. Stand up, Damon. Damon been here with us since the beginning. National School, hearing his mother. A lot of folk call themselves, I was there with Rev when he started. Well, I sure didn't see you. And it wasn't a whole lot of folk here. So I don't know how I could have missed you. Oh, they was there. I was there from the beginning. Really? You must have been hiding up under the chair. But Damon and his mother, Sharon, was there. And Damon, remember, I debated one of these rappers and guy got on TV. You don't know what you're talking about. Had what I call a nigga fit. Just nigga. Everything I'm saying, I said, brother, we've all used the words. We've used words we shouldn't. But we should stop that. It degrades us. It puts a limit. Nigga. Just had a nigga fit on me. The more I debate, the more he hit me with the N-word. About 3 weeks later, Wanda, I was somewhere on the road. They called me on my cell phone. Said, Reverend Al? I said, yeah. He said, so-and-so rappers on the phone want to talk to you. I had read in the paper that they had arrested him about 2 days before that. So I said, connect him into myself, and they connected him. He said, Reverend Al? I said, yeah, man, how you doing? Man, I got a problem. I said, yeah, I was reading something in the paper there, something about it. Yeah, man, they busted me. I said, yeah, I read about it. I said, well, what do you call me for? Well, I need you. I said, you need me for what? He said, they violating my civil rights. I told him, niggas ain't got no civil rights. How you define yourself is how you confine yourself. And if Juneteenth got anything today, is we need to refine ourselves that we are no longer slaves, and we're going to stop acting like slaves. We're going to rise to the power that we fought to have, and we won't back down to nobody about nothing. Run you right in the Father's Day. Tomorrow's Father's Day and Juneteenth. Well, we grow up in many of our homes without the father there. First thing is, the fathers that are there, we need to salute them. Because every black man ain't left their children. And even if they families break up, every black man did not stop taking care of their responsibilities. Let me tell you something. You talk all that manhood you want. If you can't take care of your children, you are not a man. And that's again this slave psychology. I got relatives running around. I go to Alabama, Dominique Ashley, he persuaded me to go down there once in a while. I got one relative. Because I don't come from Alabama, I come from Brooklyn. I was born in Kings County Hospital. Only Alabama I knew was Alabama Avenue in Brooklyn. But in East New York, that's right. My mother from Alabama. I go down there and I got one relative, I won't call her name, I know Dominique's scared. Talking about I got 11 kids. I wanted to slap him. Yeah, man, I got 11 kids. Ain't got a job nowhere. Ain't looking for water. Something about a slave psychology that makes you drop babies like you had a bowel movement. That's how sick, that's how sick and insensitive you become. Because you thinking like a slave. Like you just supposed to be mating and making babies so the master got more hands to work. Making babies to fill up more jails. Thinking like a slave. But some men say, yeah, I had to fight racism. Yeah, I had to fight inequality. But I'm going to take care of my kids till they grow. That's going to have Father's Day. Some of y'all shouldn't be celebrating Father's Day because you didn't live up to your responsibility. Well, you know, it wasn't me, the mother, she was me. Mother can't stop you from feeding your children. Mother can't stop you from providing. Mother can't stop you from being wherever you can to make their life easy. You may not be there all the time, but you're supposed to provide. And those black men that do, we ought to say Happy Father's Day to them. But then the Bible is full. Let me tell you this, there's a responsibility on the other side on Father's Day. And that is that you got to understand the weaknesses of your father and your mother. Why? Because you got some weaknesses too. I'm going to finish on this. I'm going back because I know y'all going to get mad, but I'm going to say it. Some of us did not understand the weaknesses of our parents till we got old enough to be parents ourselves. And then you understand that, yes, they could make mistakes because you made some. And you be so judgmental. That's why they had that story in the Bible, Kendrick, about Noah and his sons. I want your children to hear this for Father's Day. Noah had 2 sons. His sons came in where he was laid in the bed. Bible said he had partaken of the wine. Meaning he was drunk. And was laying in the bed butt naked. One son looked at him and said, look at him. The great Noah, drunk and naked, and mocked his father. But the other son looked at him and thought about it. Yes, he's drunk. Yes, he's naked. But if Noah had not listened to God, when God told him that it's going to rain 40 days and 40 nights and built him an ark and said to take 2 of each animal and take your family and put it on the ark, they going to call you crazy. They going to call you radical. They going to say you out of your mind. But listen to me, build that ark. And for whatever reason, Daddy listened to God. He didn't listen to his friends that thought he was crazy. He didn't listen to the critics in town. He didn't listen to what they wrote in the newspaper. He just kept building that ark. And one day the rain came. The meteorologist says it's going to rain today, it'll be all right. But it kept on raining. It got to 5 days, it kept on raining. And when it got to 20 days and things were drowning, Noah could set out on his ark And that good son looked and said, yes, he's naked and he's drunk, but if he hadn't put us on that ark, we wouldn't have been here today. If he hadn't listened to God, we would not have survived to have our own family. So even though he's wrong, even though he's drunk, I'm going to cover the mistakes of my father because he's covered me. It wouldn't be me if he hadn't covered me. On Father's Day, thank God for the fathers that covered us when they could have left us vulnerable. I'm going to say this and let you go. Somebody sent me a tape, I think it was Reverend Ralph West or Jake, somebody talked about the story of Zacharias. Zacharias was a tax collector. He collected taxes for the Romans. Money didn't go to the Jews. He was half Jewish, but money went to the Roman Empire. And Zacharias heard about this Jesus coming by. And he wanted to see Jesus, but the Bible said he was short. So he decided, Reverend Toole, that he was going to get up on a tree so he could see Jesus passing by. And they say he got on the tree, climbed up to the top of the tree. Why? Because he was short. If he stayed in the crowd, Reverend Marshall, he wouldn't have seen Jesus. And I thought about that. Somebody sent me that tape. I thought about it. I took it, I Sharptonized it. A lot of us miss stuff in life because we think we too short. The Bible said we have all sinned and fell short. Reason why you ain't out here right now doing what you should be doing in the movement is you think you too short. Reason why you ain't active in the committees you ought to be active in is because you think you too short. Reason why you ain't answering your calling is you think you too short. Zacharias went up and got up in the tree. But let me tell you what God does for those that feel they're too short. He didn't get up there to call Jesus. He went up there to see Jesus. But what he didn't know is Jesus looked up and saw him. And Jesus said, Zacharias, come on down. I'm staying with you tonight. I believe in a Jesus that comes for those of us that fell short. When I was growing up, I wasn't tall as Bishop Washington. I fell short. I wasn't as tall as Reverend William Jones. I fell short. I wasn't as tall as Jesse Jackson, who mentored me. I fell short. But one day I got in the way of Jesus, and he looked up and saw me and said, I don't care how short you are. If you'll follow me, I'll make a way out of no way. I want you to know on Father's Day, you might fall short, but stand up anyhow. Stand up anyhow. I don't care what they call you. Stand up anyhow. I don't care what they deny you. Stand up anyhow. You may be short in height, but get on your tree and let the Lord make a way out of no way. I know the Lord will make a way. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. I know the Lord will make a way. Oh, yes, you will. I know the Lord will make a way. Oh, yes, he will. Oh, he'll make a way. singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Singing like you mean it. Singing like you mean it. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. I'm open the doors of the movement. There may be someone here today that watches us on television or hears us on the radio, but never joined the National Action Network. If you're here today and never joined, you can come right down to me right now. We'll sign you up. There's no better weekend than Juneteenth than to become a member of National Action Network. If you're listening on the radio, you can go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and join online or television, www.nationalactionnetwork. But if you're here in the auditorium and not a member, come right now down to me and let us sign you up to National Action Network. Come on, everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Singing like you mean it. Singing like you mean it. Singing like you mean it. We want justice. We want freedom. Everybody's singing. One last time, y'all. One last time, y'all. One last time. All right, we're moving quickly. I want to raise our offering. And I think after that, I think they're having a Juneteenth program here at 12:30, which means that you got time to get you a sandwich or a sandwich, whichever one you have, and come back for the Juneteenth program, and then watch my show at 5 o'clock. You that are going to premiere, some have tickets for tonight, and some have tickets for tomorrow. Now, let me tell you something. This is not a National Action Network event. This is Tribeca, Robert De Niro and them. So we only had a certain amount of tickets, and the staff here is trying to give them to the committee heads. If you don't work in the committee, don't be saying, where's your ticket? Where is your work in the committee? Reverend Toon, our national field director, is in the house, and I know he's going to help with the offer. He got on a new plaid jacket, meaning he got some money. I think Katrina, I don't want you to raise an offering. I want you to give an offering. Who's helping you? Yeah, Katrina helping to count the money. I want you to give some money. I didn't call you up here to count. Y'all see all this green he got? That's some money is green too. All right, we're gonna do that. Then we're going to have I'm gonna dismiss. I'm gonna fist bump with all of you. Do not get into no conversation with me. Then we want to give the Father's Day. Every father, we got a Father's Day tie for you that we give every year. Every father. So I want the fathers to line up first. We give that every year. Derek Perkison and them, they're having the Juneteenth at 12:30. I saw when you came in. We started 8:30 in the morning. I ain't got COVID. You walked in here about 2 hours late. You can mask us all you want. had quarantine. I ain't quarantined no more. We start 8:30, go there at 9 o'clock. All right. I need everybody to give to the best of their ability. June starting us off. I need about 10 people that can give $100 or more to come quickly. Reverend Toon, $100. Guardians, $100. Winston Gilchrist, $100.
John, what's up, man?
Kendrick Meeks, $100. Brother John, I didn't even see him. Glad to see Brother John come up from Maryland, right? Where you at? DC. $100. One of our faithful members down through the years. Kendrick Meeks, I'm sorry, $500. $500. Frank Mercado Valdez, $100. Louis Papa, $120. Corey Weiss, one of the Central Park Five, $100. Now let me tell you something. The prophet Adele Kimbrough came and preached for us this morning and given $1,000. He can come prophesy here anytime he wants. All right, give me some 50s. Welcome committee, 50. Brother David, $50. Come on. Give me some give up the money music. You know, I grew up in church, we knew what to play. Serena Proudmore, $50 from our Miami National Action Network office. Oh, wow. Wanda Sykes,